Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I got a story for you that's very unfortunate. Right out of the state of California and its decimation across state lines from Northern California to Southern California. And this one in particular deals with a healthcare system, not just the doctors and nurses, but an entire healthcare system called Dignity Health out of Sacramento, California. And this story is maligned with what this hospital system, so this means this system, Dignity Health, owns multiple hospitals. What they are doing, or what they have been alleged and accused of doing to poor patients, either homeless, patients that have mental illness, low-income patients that have died in the care of Dignity Health, and they are not notifying loved ones and family members that their family member has died in the four walls of Dignity Health's system. So these people have died in the custody of this hospital. They go to the morgue, unidentified. No family members are notified. They have decomposing post-mortem bodies so bad that they can't have an open casket funeral, and many of them can't even have autopsies. And family members have been looking for their family members for years and not knowing that their loved one was laying in a off-site morgue for months and even years. Now remember, our healthcare system is supposed to be about healing and helping and not hurting. And it's bad enough that our school systems, our urban school systems throughout the country are falling apart. And now you see that our healthcare system is fragile and falling apart. Some of the pillars you need for a sustainable society are strong schools, strong healthcare system, strong public safety, police force, fire department. Transportation needs to be have a strong infrastructure. And if any of those pillars are fragmented or falling apart, then you don't have a sustainable society. And we're seeing telltale signs of many of our systems and our departments that are falling by the wayside. Our school systems in the urban cities are at an all-time low. Our healthcare system is extremely fragmented. And there's even allegations of some of these people dying at Dignity Health, and their organs have been harvested without their consent. So it makes you wonder, if you're a low-income individual, homeless, mentally ill, and you go into a hospital, are you going to get treated with the proper care? So let's go. Hospitals, and here again, this Dignity Health system, here in St. Louis, Missouri, we have two major health care systems. One is called SSM, which St. Louis University Hospital falls under, and the other one is called BJC, which Barnes Hospital, Washington University falls under. So those are our two large healthcare systems that's very similar to Dignity. And of course, when we go to the hospital, we're putting our heart, our souls, our physical body in the hands of not only a healthcare system, but the doctors and nurses that we want to take appropriate care for us. But that's not happening in Sacramento, allegedly in Dignity Health. So, hospitals accused of hiding deaths, storing bodies for months and years, and not telling family members. Families in the Sacramento area say they spent months, and in some cases years, desperately searching for loved ones who had vanished, only to discover that their remains had been left to decompose, unidentified, and forgotten in an off-site morgue operated by Dignity Health Hospitals. That's hospitals plural. This is not just one. This is several hospitals under the Dignity Health umbrella. Now in a series of lawsuits and regulatory audits, alleged that one of California's largest healthcare systems demonstrated callous, reckless, and outrageous failure by neglecting to notify families of patient deaths, withholding death certificates, and consigning bodies to languish in storage, compounding the anguish of those left behind. This is an entire healthcare system that is doing this. It can't be any more inhumane than that. And look at the hypocrisy and the dichotomy. A healthcare system is supposed to provide help and healing. Dignity Health is at the center of multiple lawsuits. All of the cases described, including those of Tanya Walker, Jesse Peterson, and Michael Gray, and several unnamed patients, happened at hospitals owned and operated by Dignity Health in California, primarily in the Sacramento area. The hospitals involved include Mercy General and Mercy San Juan Medical Center, both of which are part of the Dignity Health system. The lawsuits and investigative reports allege that Dignity Health, these are the allegations, failed to notify families promptly about patient deaths, did not issue timely death certificates, stored bodies for months or even years in an off-site contracted morgue, allowed remains to decompose or otherwise deteriorate, making identification or viewing impossible. These cases have been widely reported and are at the center of civil litigation and regulatory scrutiny against Dignity Health for gross negligence, emotional distress, and mishandling of deceased patients' remains. And here are the three cases individually or in particularly of some of these people. Tanya Walker, a 51-year-old woman from Sacramento with a history. Now look at some of the similarities. She had a history of homelessness and drug use. Disappeared in November 2023. Her sisters, Daly Morez and Kalia Zachary, searched for her for several months, scouring streets and distributing flyers, and even falling victim to scammers. In May 2024, they learned that Tanya's body had been in an off-site morgue since her death, unclaimed and decomposing. When they identified her remains, they also found, you're not going to believe this, they found her eyes and skin missing and alleged her body was harvested for organs without her consent. So when you're talking about human trafficking, you're talking about the harvesting of organs and selling them on the black market. There's allegations that these healthcare systems are definitely the nucleus and the primary people that are involved in this illegal harvesting and selling of organs. The family's lawsuit against Dignity Health and the contracted mortuary, Michael Lofton, alleges gross negligence, including failure to issue a death certificate and failure to notify family, causing immense emotional distress. Her body was stored for months without their knowledge, and her family still does not know how she ended up at the hospital where she died. If you check all these boxes off, this seems very intentional, in my opinion. Here is the second case of Jesse Peterson, whose age was 31 and was admitted to Mercy San Juan Medical Center in April of 2023 for a diabetic episode. After calling her mother from the ICU, Jesse died a few hours later of cardiac arrest and was placed in cold storage. The hospital never notified her family of her death, despite being listed as an emergency contact Instead, the hospital staff erroneously told her mother she had left the hospital against medical advice. Now, that is an outright lie. She died in the custody of this Mercy San Juan Medical Center. For a year, Peterson's family searched for her, filing missing person reports and seeking help from law enforcement. In April 2024, a detective finally informed them that Jesse's decomposed body was still in the same off-site morgue as Walker. Seems very intentional. And these are all poor people with issues, drug issues, psychiatric issues. They're not doing this to middle class and rich folks. Seems very intentional. The state of her remains made an open casket and even an autopsy impossible. Jesse's family is suing Dignity Health, which they accuse of a pattern of neglect in handling patient deaths and failing to inform families, leaving dozens of bodies undiscovered for months or even years. Here is a third person. In 2021, Michael Gray died of an accidental overdose in Mercy San Juan Medical Center. The hospital allegedly failed to contact his mother, Valerie Gray, despite his wallet and identification being on him. She spent over a month searching desperately for her son before his decomposed body was also located at the off-site morgue. The hospital claimed a chaplain had tried to notify her but called the wrong number. How are they going to win? How is Dignity Health going to win this in court? And failed to follow up. The chaplain called. Valerie Gray's lawsuit against the facility was settled out of court, of course. Now, what is the importance of post-mortem care? Research highlights that many nurses may be undertrained when it comes to the procedures and communication responsibilities that follow a patient's death. For example, a study in the Journal of Nursing Management reported that 42% of nurses felt unprepared for post-mortem tasks and protocols for notifying families. The situation in California highlights the very real impact when these systems potentially fail. For bedside nurses, it's a reminder that our responsibilities and our influence extends beyond life-saving care. This is very important to listen to this story, because this could happen to anyone. This is not based on race, creed, or color, and any of your family members could end up in this scenario. Lessons and actionable takeaways for nurses. Number one, emphasize accurate documentation. Maintaining thorough and clear documentation is essential for preventing confusion and errors in post-mortem care. Multiple studies have shown that hospitals using electronic tracking systems for deceased patients may experience significantly fewer identification mistakes compared to those relying on manual paper-based records. So you want to go to a hospital. All these hospitals in 2025 should be right at the premiere of their technological advances. Improved documentation, whether through regular staff training, consistent audits, or utilizing technology, contributes to better accuracy and likely enhance patient safety. If your facility still uses older paper-based systems, advocating for updated electronic tools and ongoing education can help prevent errors and support high standards of care for patients and their families. Number two, you want them to ensure prompt and compassionate family communication. Timely notification of family members is more than a courtesy. It is an ethical obligation. The Joint Commission recommends that hospitals use designated, trained staff for delivering news of a patient's death, even if you aren't the person relaying the message. As a nurse, you are often the first point of support for families seeking clear and accurate information. Thirdly, participate in audits and quality improvement. This is what these hospital systems need to do. Regular review of postmortem care processes catches gaps before they escalate. In a 2024 Journal of Palliative Care, the study showed that quality improvement initiatives in end-of-life care resulted in better adherence to protocols and increased family satisfaction. Whether through formal committees or daily vigilance, nurses are well placed to identify and recommend improvements. So what has been the broader impact from this in supporting families? Delays or mishandling in the post-death period may increase the emotional burden on families, contributing to complicated grief and psychological distress. Our interaction with families in these moments carries lasting significance, showing their experience and memories of their loved ones on their final days. And so moving forward, as a result of this mischaracter of judgment on humanity of people that have died in the care of Dignity Health, a professional call to action. Some of these high-profile California cases are still being investigated. Regardless of the outcome, it serves as a meaningful prompt for all of us to consider the systems and protocols in our own workplaces. Take an active role in requesting or organizing postmortem care and training updates. Ensure documentation and identification processes are followed consistently, and advocate for electronic solutions where possible. Clarify, review, and practice communication protocols with your team, especially for family notifications. These families want to be notified when they lost a loved one immediately. While we may not oversee every aspect of a hospital's post-mortem protocol, our role is essential in upholding professional standards and advocating for improvement where needed. It's part of our compassionate commitment to patients and family alike. Just because we're nurses or in nursing, our care does not end at the moment of a patient's death. How we respond to these moments reflect our integrity as individuals and as professionals. So you have I gave you 3 particular cases where these individuals came into this Dignity Healthcare system and subsequently and unfortunately died. And during post-mortem, there was no identification to notify. They did not notify family members, parents, any of that they had a loved one that just passed away in the facility of these Dignity Health hospitals. Some of these individuals, and that they all went to an off-site morgue. How did they drop the ball? It got to the point where some of them were in the morgue so long that they couldn't be identified. They couldn't have an autopsy done. And of course, they couldn't have an open casket. So if you had a family member, so one of your loved ones that has passed away, and you don't know it for 6 months to a year, and then when you find out, you can't even go and identify their body, or their post-mortem body looks so bad and devastating that you can't even recognize them. To see that sight of a loved one, if you had to go there and identify them, would be the most disheartening thing, and it would be a place in your memory that you would never be able to get out. You're talking about PTSD at its finest. 1, you lost a loved one, and 2, the inhumane care of that loved one after they died made you feel like they weren't even treated like a human being. We have to increase our moral, ethical, and humanity in our society today. And if our hospitals are failing us on the care and the treatment of a live patient versus or a patient that has died post-mortem, their care afterwards, it should still be at the same level. Whether that human being is living or just passed away, the commonality there, it was still a human being. Tell me what you think. We have to make sure our healthcare systems are held to the highest standard and accountability. And we have to get away from this grossly negligent, inhumane, unemotional society that we are living in today. If you see our healthcare system is treating human beings like this, what do you think the rest of the citizens and the criminals that are out in our cities thinking about another person? Life and death is such a minute and finite reality that we are losing our souls and our humanity each and every day, and it is quite unfortunate. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, God-fearing, and righteous way.